Look good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an important man. So why would? Because this is mixing two lights, the artificial and the natural.
How long will it take?
It's 30 minutes.
No, too long. Can you make it 10?
10? Then you have a lot of people who ask you questions in the newspapers. We can summarize all these things. The person looks at it.
Let's I don't know what you are going to say first.
Yeah.
What are you going to ask me?
Well, we're going to
Sit down, please.
We want a clip of like how HIV gets in one's body, how it can be avoided, how the test is carried out, how accurate the test is, and how to live positively.
You know the things.
Yeah.
It will be in English or Uganda?
It will be English.
Yeah.
And Doctor, my name is Lukonda Sesanga. I'm going to be directing this interview so that we make sure it comes out perfect.
And him is Haju?
Nkamayo.
Nkamayo?
Yeah.
Ugamba?
Yeah.
And the big man?
Kasuja Jingo.
Kasuja Jingo behind the camera?
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't talk, you just...
Yes. So if we can go to that spot, Doctor.
I'll make sure you don't... You haven't taken any
No.
picture of anybody around.
We are professional.
Yes.
We will only record what you have told us to record. There's no point.
Well, I've been in HIV for more than 20 years.
20 years?
Because I think I've lived with HIV for that long.
Okay.
But I've been working with HIV since 2004.
Okay. So tell us, how does HIV...
Problem. Can we go the other side? Let's get people pass and it's going to get disrupted. Is that
There?
Is this okay?
Yeah, that's okay. This is fine.
You don't mind this?
No. Because,
So he's asking?
I am.
So I look at you?
Yeah, you look at me. You can look anywhere.
Our job is to make you look good.
Not I have, but I do live with HIV.
Okay. You are on retroviral drugs?
Yes, I'm on ARVs for the last 10 years.
How long have you known that you are HIV positive?
Since 1993.
And between 1993 and what were you doing? What were you on?
I was on nothing. God is grace.
So why couldn't you remain in God's grace?
There is time for everything.
So, from your vast experience now in HIV, could you tell us how HIV gets in a human body to cause disease?
Well, HIV, the virus, gets in the human body when you come in contact with the contaminated body fluids. The body fluids we're talking about is the blood. If you get in touch with the blood of a person who is infected with HIV, you can get infected with it. Or sexual fluids, that is semen and then vaginal fluids. That's why it is transmitted sexually, because of what happens during sex. And maybe, for example, if you, by accidents, for example, if you get an accident and then blood mixes, or if you get contaminated sharp instruments, like syringes or knives for circumcise or who do tattooing and those things. So real blood and other body fluids, which the two most important are blood and sexual fluids.
Okay.
And then of course the other method of transmission of HIV is mother to child,
Yes.
where the virus gets in the child from the mother, either during labor and birth or during pregnancy.
Okay, you may have to speak up.
Okay.
So, according to you, can I extend this? According to you, if I slept with somebody who is HIV positive, as a man, how many times do I have to sleep with that person to get it?
I don't know. I don't know how many times you have to sleep with a man, but what I know, the person, what I know is that if you sleep, you have sex with a man, because let's be exact, having sex, unprotected sex, and the body fluids mix, then it's possible to get infected. You are exposed. But as to how many times you have to do it before you're exposed, I don't know, because it could be once you get exposed, We know people who get exposed several times and they are not infected. There is what we call discordancy. So I don't know how many times, but I know that you can be infected on the first time, but the people have been in this and they have not got infected. So that is it. But there are many factors. One depends on the aggressiveness of the virus. Let's call it virulence of the virus or aggressiveness. How aggressive is it? Secondly, it also depends on your natural immunity. If they find you when you are strong, you may be able to overcome it.
So there is a virus that is weak and a virus that is strong?
Well, they call them strains. Yeah. No viruses like tribes.
Yes.
We know the Ugandans are Ugandans, but you know they are Baganda, they are Karamojong. Yeah. And all of us know Karamojongs are more of warriors. Yes. Yeah, aggressive more than the other tribes maybe. So that's how we look at it. There are strains. There's HIV 1, HIV 2. Now 1 tends to be more aggressive than 2. Yeah.
Is what we have in Africa?
We have both. We have both. 1 and 2. 1 is more prevalent in East Africa, and 2 is more prevalent in West Africa, and that shows maybe why HIV is more aggressive in East Africa than in West Africa. Okay. But people can have both.
You mentioned discordance there.
Discordance,
Isn't that like a distortion of the whole equation of HIV?
Well, it is a phenomenon which is not easy to explain, but it's very common, yes, as they say.
But shouldn't that distort science?
Not quite, not quite. There is a lot of research going on because we know it happens. We don't know why it happens so much, but we know it is there. That there are people too. So when you go and test and you're HIV positive, you can't assume that your partner is also positive. It could be negative and vice versa.
But if the virus is really literally jumps off somebody's genitalia, why would a man who is HIV positive not transfer it to the wife? Well,
I don't think it jumps off the genitalia. It is in the fluids.
Yes.
So also it depends on the kind of sex people have. For example, if people have, for example, bruises, that makes it easier for what? For the virus to enter the blood.
Yes.
Or if it's rough sex.
Yes.
Or if somebody had sex maybe around when they are having menstruation because there's blood. So there are many factors. We don't know what people do when they're having sex.
So when the virus enters my body, why can't my body's immunity fight it?
It does.
So if
it does.
It fights it, what
it does. It puts up a very good fight. That's why people get infected today. They can live for up to 15 years. They are not sick.
Okay. So
it's like a war on. You get this fever, you fight it. But as it goes on, you know your protection, your personal protection unit. The cells which protect you keep reduced until you are squatting. You see, when you are squatting, so you are weak. Yes. Even a child could push you.
Yes.
So when you are squatting, then you start developing what they call opportunistic infections.
Yes.
These are the ones which eventually, when they become serious, we call that AIDS.
What is the virus doing then? Where is it?
It is in the blood.
It's in the host cell?
Yeah, it gets in the cell.
Yes.
The cells are supposed to produce cells.
Yes.
But this virus eventually enters the cell and makes them produce viruses.
The virus enters the cell and makes the cell produce viruses?
Yes.
How does that do that? The virus has only got 3 genes.
I don't know about that, but what I know is that...
it has no DNA, it has reverse transcriptase.
No, it has the...
RNA.
Okay, let me explain.
Yes.
The genetic material in a human being is called DNA, which I've talked about.
Yes.
It is 2-stranded.
Yes.
It's like a rope.
Yes.
Yeah. This rope from the mother and this one from the father.
Yes.
So you get a rope.
And the miter.
Okay, whatever you call it.
Yes.
Now the virus has only RNA, which is a single rope.
Yes.
So it cannot replicate.
Yes.
In order to replicate, it has to undergo what they call reverse transcription.
Yes.
And it uses what you call reverse transcriptase, the enzyme you talked about,
yes,
to do that. Yes. So it changes from RNA to DNA, then it produces.
How does it produce if it doesn't have a DNA?
That's what I'm telling you.
Yes.
It enters the cell of the body of the human being, changing itself from RNA,
yes,
using the enzyme called reverse transcriptase.
yes,
it changes to DNA,
yes,
then reproduces.
yes.
So your cell turns into a factory for viruses. That's why we use drugs called reverse transcriptase inhibitors,
Yes.
ARVs,
Yes.
to block the enzyme and then stop it replicating.
I haven't understood you there, so I'm sorry. The virus, the retrovirus, has got 3 genes, and it has no DNA. It uses those 3 genes to get into a DNA of a cell. So, so where does it get the reproduction material now to reproduce itself?
Look, I am not a geneticist.
Yes.
I'm not a specialist in genes.
Yes.
You are mixing 2 things.
Yes.
I've told you that the reproductive material in a human being called DNA.
Yes.
It is 2-stranded.
Yes.
The reproductive material in the virus is called RNA. It is single-stranded.
Yes.
Because of that, it cannot reproduce.
Yes.
So in order to reproduce, it changes itself
Yes.
through a process called reverse transcription
Yes.
into DNA, using the enzyme called reverse transcriptase.
Yes.
When it has done that, it is able to reproduce.
Okay. Does it kill the host cell?
The host cell dies because it is not able to produce other cells. Eventually, all cells die, but before they die, they have to produce other cells.
Yes.
But because this cell now has been taken over by the virus, instead of producing cells, producing what? Viruses.
Yes.
So it dies.
So if it dies, then where does that leave the virus?
It goes to another cell.
It jumps so far, this one dies to another cell?
Yes.
Okay. So explain to us how the test is carried out. How do you know somebody has a virus?
You look for the antibodies of that virus
Yes.
into in the blood,
Yes.
and that's what to do.
Why are we looking for antibodies and not the virus itself?
Well, you can look for the virus. There's what they call antigen test, which is more expensive.
Yes.
That's looking for the particles of the virus, or the antibody test, which is looking for the antibodies that are produced by the body in response to the challenge that the virus has brought. There are 2 tests you can do.
So the antigen test looks for the virus itself.
Particles of the virus, yes.
Particles of the virus.
Yeah. Antigen means protein, part of is part of the virus, yeah.
Okay. So they can see, have we got that in Uganda?
Yes, we do it here in Mildmay, we do it.
Using what equipment?
It's called polymerase chain reaction.
PCR.
PCR, yeah. It's here.
Ah.
We do it, that's what we use to test children for HIV.
You use a PCR to test the...
Yes.
Okay.
Because the antibody test would be deceptive in children, yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I think you are taking me in a different direction. I didn't expect you. I'm not a virologist. You have told me I'm going to talk about HIV, but what you're talking to me is not fire.
No. It's to understand. Actually, I have a...
Really, for the audience you are going to broadcast, I don't think this is fair.
Okay.
If you are going to talk to university students, yes. But really, I don't think this is fair.
It is a high-end station. It's not a bouquet. It is...
High-end, yes, but... And I'm going to explain to you that I'm not a geneticist. You should go to...
When you said that, I moved away from that line of questioning.
I wish you could ask me about treating HIV and so on.
No, when you mentioned
And I have a
the fact
meeting
that you are not
in
a
about
geneticist,
15 minutes.
Then I moved away from that. But,
We have about 10 minutes.
But you've mentioned the PCR. I have an insert that comes with the PCR. And it says that at the moment, on that insert, it's written that there is no standard test for HIV or antibodies against it in human blood. It says so on an insert.
Well, that's true then. Because I am not a specialist.
But then if you are using the PCR...
I'm not a specialist. You could go to the laboratory people, they will explain this better. I'm a clinician, not a laboratory person.
You would be able to give us a clinician to talk to?
A clinician does what I'm doing, caring for HIV. A person you are looking for is a laboratory technologist.
Yes.
I think that's what I'm not.
We go to one here?
Yeah, but you are not taking me to another place. Do you want me to take you to a laboratory technologist?
Well, I would. Welcome. I don't want to
I'll get
interview you on an area where you...
Yeah, because you ask me about HIV, I'll give you. I think let's stop here.
Oh, no, we can go back to...
No, I'll let me ask my colleague to answer.
That's
just
okay.
had
No,
a few.
it's okay. It's fair to him. It's because he has to be an area where he has an expertise.
Yeah, because you asked me about AIDS.
Doctor, if it's okay with you for us to at least conclude the interview.
No, I think you are saying you are going to anchor, but I think
I am.
it's an ambush. I'm not a laboratory technologist.
We are very sorry for that.
No, it's not an ambush. Why would it be an ambush? An ambush for what? It is to understand
We are very sorry, doctor. We shall proceed to the laboratory test
No. I think let's conclude on that one because
after.
yeah, because I'm not a virologist.
Yes.
I'm a clinician.
It's okay, doctor. We shall meet the.
But when you are answering questions in the newspaper, you answer every question. So,
That's
and
what
I have followed
confused us.
What I do,
So I thought you are a one-stop center where we can come and get
that's what
answers.
confused
Now
us.
you are
Doctor, it's what
now you
confused
are
us.
running
no, but
your obligation.
we agreed on the terms for this interview.
Like I said, I was going to ask you
It's
about
what
how
confused us.
the HIV gets in the body, how the test is carried out, and how you care for those who have HIV. Now, where have I gone astray?
You are telling me about what you read on what?
Yes.
And I haven't read it. So if you have read
I
it,
have a
it's true.
copy. Where is my
Then
bag?
you use that one, copy it, quote it.
Let me show you. It's an old copy. Actually.
Just read that to the audience; they will understand. Just read it.
Okay,
Because
maybe
Says,
we can go
this is
back.
the inside
I don't
of the
want
PCR.
it.
Okay,
I
we now
can't
go
read
back.
it.
At the moment,
We are going to go back to the
there is
interview.
no
then,
recognized
doctor.
standard for testing the presence or absence.
So
of
were you trying to find out how much I know or what?
No, it's not
Because
finding
I'm
out.
confused. I know we use a PCR. I have gone and got the other test, the other inserts. There is indeterminate. There is Unigold.
I know.
Determinant.
We are going to go back.
And all of them, they kind of avoid responsibility. They say you need to go for further tests, you need to do this. So I thought that you could be able to shed some light on me. I don't want to go on TV and start talking about things that I don't know. And when I asked, they said they've stopped that.
Maybe
person
we
that
can
they
take
shed-
him away from that. Let's maybe take him away from that and ask where he's comfortable from, in an area he's comfortable with.
But wouldn't you like to know yourself? Wouldn't you like to see this and insert and see? This is the one that will come with the machine that you are using.
I don't use it. I'm not a technologist.
Okay. It's okay, doctor. Maybe we can go back to.
No, I have another appointment.
Yeah, we
So-
are concluding.
Could you quickly tell us about the care then that you give for people who have tested HIV?
Briefly, when a person tests HIV positive,
Yes.
we do a test called the antibody test.
Yes.
You do a screening test,
Yes.
which can be start pack
Yes.
or determine,
Yes.
and then you can, if you use a start pack, you can confirm, because one is specific, one is very sensitive.
Yes.
If the two determine and start pack are conflicting, then you use a Unigold as a what? A tiebreaker. Now, once this has been determined, then we do a CD4 count.
Yes.
A CD4 count measures how much damage has been done to what? To this body.
Yes.
And with that, it guides us on whether a person is eligible for ART or not.
Yes.
When people are eligible for ARTs, we cancel them and put them on ARVs
Yes.
with support, and that's what we do.
Do you do this before they get sick, or as soon as you discover that they are, their CD4 have been?
Well, ideally, the person who tests positive should do an HIV, a CD4 count.
Yes.
And most of them are not sick. We cancel them depending on what?
Do they go on ARVs even when they are not sick?
Yeah, if their CD4 is low or if they're pregnant.
But you yourself said that immunity can build itself, it can keep fighting. So if the CD4 has gone down, but they are not sick, why would they go on ARVs?
Well, practice is that you need to help a system which is failing.
Yes.
Yeah, so you need to beef it up. And instead of waiting until somebody develops serious opportunistic infection, then you fight it, yeah.
So how many people do you care about here? Do you care for?
Generally, we have over 20,000.
20,000?
But not all of them are here. Some are in the satellite clinics.
20,000?
Yeah, over 20,000.
And how much money is that?
A lot of money. I can't tell you how much offhand.
So they say they spend on each patient about $700 a year.
I guess that's right.
That would be right for you as well?
Maybe more, because it depends on the regimen they are on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Watiti, thank you very much.
Sorry about that.